A few days ago, my fiance randomly sent me an article out of the blue. It was about biophilia. If you've never heard about this, I will say that it is a theory that suggests that humans possess an innate tendency to seek connections with nature and other forms of life. This article caught me at a very interesting time in my life where I really feel like I had been living out the themes of spring: the planting of seeds, the cultivating of new dreams, as well as the reimagined visions of my future and lots of healing. It is a very, very messy process to change and evolve in ways you definitely could not have anticipated on the outset, and it's still ongoing for me. Nature has so much to teach us about moving through all of these phases and cycles of life. My hope is that this video gives tons of dark cottagecore vibes, and there will also be lots of rumination of the eco-horror variety. In this video, I will experiment with new springtime hobbies as well as leaning on some tried and true favorites in hopes that I can live out the biophilia theory, connecting with nature, with you, and with myself, as a way to transition into this new season of life with nature as my guide. Starting with my first paint by numbers kit. This is definitely one of those things that I'll be kicking myself for not trying sooner. Like the first few minutes that I'm doing it, I definitely was not thinking I was doing anything correctly. It feels so wonky and weird to try to get what's in your head, like that precision, communicated somehow to your hand to make sure that like you're moving it in a way where like the circle is really nice and clear and precise. But I'm really happy to report that if you've never done it before, once you just like kind of keep going with it, your hand does get in the rhythm. So that first hurdle of navigating a paintbrush was very quickly resolved. Once you practice on those like larger parts of the art, definitely then focus on the smaller parts. Once you've gotten the hang of how to use a paintbrush, after like 5 minutes, it really does become something that's very passive. You can listen to an audiobook like myself or watch something on TV, because it's really as simple as picking up a paint by numbers kit at a store, online. I got mine from Michael's and they had tons of choices to choose from. I thought this little beetle was the perfect dark cottagecore vibe. It's really beautiful with the colors and the floral, but also it's a little gross because you have like a little insect. And I love that contrast of like nature as this very beautiful but ugly thing. This is a craft I will 100% come back to time and time again. Once I got the hang of how to do this whole paint by numbers thing, I popped in my AirPods and I wrapped up a book that I've really been loving. It's called Fruiting Bodies by Catherine Harlan. It is very much dark cottagecore. It's also very weird and strange and uncategorizable because there are some, contemporary elements. There is a little bit of like horror. It's kind of tinged with horror, some magical realism. It's a short story collection that is written by one author, and I've learned that that is more likely to be my jam. Obviously, it was the cover that really drew me to the story, but really it's the weird range of how this author uses the theme of mushrooms and fungi that really kept me listening. I looked up exactly what fruiting bodies was right before I read it, and in biology, apparently, fruiting bodies are spore-containing fungal structures. One interesting result of like listening to this audiobook, especially on my walks, is that it really kind of caused me to pause and take in nature a little bit more. One of the stories centers on the experience of growing up surrounded by the omnipresence of death, of friendship, of family members, of the planet. And what I really appreciate about this author is that she's somehow able to nail down that existential dread, like that feeling of the world burning and you are so helpless. You're just like this one drop in a bucket. And so you're always vacillating between like lots of hope and optimism and this helplessness that seems very, very defeating. Creation comes from something, ultimately something that has died. And a key part of that story is that you don't always know in the moment that there is death or there are new beginnings in front of you. One spring hobby I really wanted to try out is going to be baking. I thought scones would be a really great spring recipe to try out. Scones are some of my favorite baked goods. I really love a lemon scone, and especially those vanilla petite scones at Starbucks. Ugh, they are my absolute favorite. However, this is where this whole new hobby thing comes into play here. I'm not a very confident cook. I have a whole lot of anxiety when it comes to being in the kitchen. My role in our household is definitely the cleaner post meal. That's definitely my space, my time to shine. Cooking has really never appealed to me, but baking does sound interesting. I've dabbled in it a little bit, so it's not cozy for me just yet. I still felt as I was making this recipe really stressed and anxious. I wasn't confident about making any decisions like when to take them out of the oven. I want to be the person that makes sweets and other goodies for their loved ones during the holidays and any time of year. I just really want it to be second nature for me, so it does become this thing that's like really cozy and inviting for me to do as a way just to like be present and relax. I haven't tried them yet, so let's see what this ends up tasting like. I have my tea right here. I also did dabble in making some clotted cream. That tastes so good. That tastes so good. Okay, go me. Scones are definitely baked goods that require a bit of firmness. Like these are not soft and moist like a cupcake would be. And this I feel like has pretty good consistency for such a newbie like me. I mean, they made it super easy. All I had to do was add water to the mix. But still, there's a lot of room for me to mess up. Like I'm kind of known for all these mishaps in the kitchen, and I don't think I messed up. I've never tasted clotted cream before, but let's try it out. I feel like this might be a little too on the buttery side. Yum, yum. Of course, I had to make some tea with this. I have some black lavender tea with the cute little bear poking out. So adorable. Scones, tea, a perfect spring read. Just like the perfect vibe to relax, chill out. Cheers to baking. I have really wanted to enter a cozy games era for a long time now. As a huge lover of reading books and watching movies, I think it makes a whole lot of sense why I'd be interested in gaming. Books and movies, they are all about escapism, it's all about storytelling and using your imagination, and the same goes for games. My favorite childhood game, The Sims, is very reminiscent of Stardew Valley. As I started playing, it started to just give me all of The Sims vibes. It brought me back to my childhood. Staying up until the crack of dawn, literally playing and, creating my families, getting into all kinds of digital mischief. The premise for this game is so adorable. I love that my character, is so over the hustle and bustle of like the 9-to-5 cubicle. Capitalism is really sucking the fun out of our lives. So we are going off to a farm and we're going to be living our best cottagecore lives. So I was just kind of like exploring Pelican Town, trying to figure out the whole process for actually building up my farm. It was really cute. I went into this like arcade area in one of the buildings or the businesses in Pelican Town, and you could actually play songs and like change the songs using the jukebox that's there. People really love this game and I can see the appeal definitely, but I think my biggest issue is it's really broad in its gameplay. You can do almost anything, and I know that it gives you quests, but I feel like I'm kind of a lost sheep. Maybe I need to watch more beginner guides online. I know Brooklyn sent me one, but I just feel so overwhelmed with what I read and watch online when they're giving you advice for how to navigate the game and start yourself off. So don't get me wrong, I really am liking it. I am enjoying it. I think it's so cute, so cozy, and I think I just need to like get out of my head and realize that there are so many ways I can play this game. There's not like one perfect way. So I'm gonna stick with this game. I don't feel like it's giving me the same level of like engagement and excitement that The Sims would. And I think it's just because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So leave me any tips below in the comments if you feel like there's something that really helped you wrap your head around this game when you were first starting off. I have a small stash of adult coloring books that I have been accumulating over the years, although they kind of have been neglected by me. A few pages have been colored in more recently this past month. I have been dabbling a little bit more in my Junji Ito coloring book. I also have a glow-in-the-dark Nightmare Before Christmas book, and I got this really cool Killer Clowns one from Fright Rags. But for the most part, this is not something that is a part of my regular hobby routine, which is why I wanted to give it a shot. Because when it comes to watching any kind of documentary that is about history or nature, it's something that really gets my analytical brain going. Like, I need to do something with my brain to feel like I'm processing the information, that I'm capturing the big ideas. I also feel like I'm a very fidgety person, even when I watch feature films. I need to do something with my hands, and oftentimes it's scrolling on my phone. So it's something that's distracting rather than helping me enjoy whatever I'm watching on the screen. Enter in coloring books. I found this really cute and thematic cottagecore coloring page online. There are tons for you to print that are freely available. There's also a really great selection of books in any kind of theme or topic that you could find at any bookstore. And if you're looking for really niche coloring pages, don't forget about Etsy, because small business owners and creators, they have tons of things listed on there. Coloring my little mushrooms while I was watching a documentary about mushrooms was perfect for me. It really did help me channel my attention on just two really simple things. So that was really effective for me while watching this documentary. The documentary is called Fantastic Fungi. It's on Netflix, and it's a really cool mix of biology, science. There's history in there. We get into also some political stuff as well. And like most documentaries, it's coming in with a thesis. It is trying to defend. A lot of the history stuff was familiar to me. It was the science stuff and the information on just how important these mushrooms, fungi, mycelium are that really blew my mind. Apparently humans are descended from mycelium. What? And it was really lovely to see that there are people, literal people, in community with others, like little mycelium themselves, to fight climate change, to combat pollution. And mushrooms are one piece of that puzzle. And in my amateur scientific perspective here, really, when I'm thinking about this documentary and I'm trying to ask myself, what makes mushrooms, fungi, mycelium, so effective at doing what they do for, billions and billions of years. And I think what I've come up with is that they do not do it alone. They do not do things in a silo. Their biggest strength is that they're connected to other fungi, other mycelium, other aspects of nature like trees. I'm just so in awe of their eternal optimism and in their own constant faith in their own abilities to create new life, essentially new beginnings. I'm just struck by how much I feel like in the past 4 years, as I've emerged into my career as a public school history educator, how much of my existence in that role is so independent and individualized and feeling so disconnected from others. I haven't had a space within my day-to-day life as a career professional where I have felt like I'm connected to other people who are working in the same way as me, like other staff members, where we are all connected by a larger purpose and we build off of one another's strengths through connection to live out that purpose and work towards achieving it. All of that to say, I want to embody that mushroom mindset. Fungi never put the burden on themselves alone, and they are strong, they are successful because they do it together. And that's the most beautiful lesson I think I've learned from nature this entire week. Please, please, please leave a comment down below if you have any other nature-based activities, DIYs, crafts, hobbies, you name it, that you think I'd really enjoy. Maybe some movies or books that have that eco horror element to it. I'm all ears. I really hope your spring is treating you well and you are having a smooth transition, planting those seeds, beginning anew. Don't forget, I am right there, right beside you, going through the wildness that is life, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!